dividing Veda into two, Karma Kanda and Jnana Kanda, is not the only way. Another way of division is into four, Samhita, Brahmanam, Aranyakam and Upanishad. Samhita means that which is joined together. Vedas contain a number of mantras in praise of various deities, Devata. Such parts are generally called Samhita. Though the importance is for such hymns, there are also mantras here and there that are knowledge-oriented. The entire Ishavasya Upanishad is in the Samhita part. Next comes the Brahmana. The general theme of Brahmana is how to do the Vedic rituals using the mantras of the Samhita. They are mostly in prose and are in two parts. The prescriptive part speaking about the rules of practicing the Vedic rituals, and the other part speaking of its meaning with the help of stories. There are also some philosophical parts, just like in Samhita. The famous Brihadaranyaka Upanishad is in the Brahmana part of Shukla Yajurveda. Similarly, Kenopanishad is in the Brahmana part of Samaveda. Samhita and Brahmana together form the Karma Kanda. Aranyakam comes as an appendix to Samhita and Brahmana. As the name indicates, it is about Aranya or forest. The rishis envisioned that after fulfilling all the worldly karma, the householder, grihastha, should go for vanaprastha and live in the forest for obtaining greater purity of mind. The main content of Aranyaka are the principles raised by the people who led such a life of subtle practices and contemplation. I'll repeat that sentence. The main content of Aranyaka are the principles realized by the people who led such a life of subtle practices and contemplation. The next comes Upanishads, which is the enquiry after truth, as we have seen. Some acharyas describe the Aranyaka as Upasana Kanda, making it a third group, as they contain teachings that give importance to Upasana or spiritual practice. There is nothing wrong with such a classification, but Shankaracharya and others stick to the two. We have had a distant view of Veda. Veda becomes valid means of proof because they make known subjects that cannot be known with the help of other means. Pratyakshena anumitya va yastupayo na vidyate enam vidanti vedena tasmad vedasya vedata. This means, what cannot be known directly or through inference is known through Veda. Thus it is that Veda attains Vedatva, or the quality of making known. There are several things that cannot be known through direct perception or inference. Some examples are the destination of karma, what is sin, pava, and what is punya, its opposite, the arrangements for rituals or yajna, the results, heaven and hell. They can be known only through Veda. Veda would contain other topics, but they are only for relating to worldly matters. They are not the main theme of Veda. If those worldly matters agree with some findings of modern science, we can only bow our heads to the rishis. Some of the writings may not be acceptable in terms of modern science, but that is no reflection on the authority of the Vedas. Nor does the authority get enhanced by modern science validating the worldly things stated in Veda. The authority of Veda is in making us realize the things that are not subject to other authority. According to one belief, Veda was only one at the beginning and was divided into 4 later. Another belief is that the 4 Vedas emanated from the 4 faces of Brahma, the god of creation. Whatever be that, the Veda mantras have generally 3 characteristics: poetry, prose, and song. Because of this, the word Trayi, meaning a combination of 3, is almost a synonym for Vedas. The poetry-oriented mantras with specified number of syllables and lines are called Ruk. The parts without a specific number of syllables or lines are called Yajus, and the song-oriented ones are called Sama. The mantras with these characteristics are spread into 4 collections of books. Generally, Rig Veda is the collection of Riks, Yajur Veda is the collection of Yajus, Sama Veda is the collection of Sama, and Atharva Veda the collection of all the 3 kinds. These are Chatur Veda, or the 4 Vedas. The followers of Purana, that is Pauranics, hold the view that Veda was one and was divided into and spread, that is Vyasa, into 4 in each Dwapara Yuga. The one who divides and spreads it is called Vyasa. Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasa, the son of Satyavati, is the 28th Vyasa in that tradition. When we just say Vyasa, we take him to be Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasa. The Puranas say that he collected the mantras and divided them into 4 books depending on their characteristics. He taught these to 4 of his important disciples. Maharshi Paila grasped Rig Veda, Vaishampayana grasped Yajur Veda, Jaimini grasped Samaveda, and Sumantu Atharva Veda. They taught their disciples, and they in turn theirs, and so on. This is not acceptable to the Vedics. According to them, there were 4 divisions in the Vedas even before Vyasa. Even in a number of Veda mantras, there are words conveying the meaning of Rik, Yajus, Sama, and Atharva. Some examples are Rijaha, Samani, Janjire, Chandansi, Janjire, Tasmat, Yajus Tasmadajayata, and Atharvangira Samasi. Therefore, the theory that Vyasa wrote the Vedas does not hold water. We can take both the views together. There is no doubt that the divisions were there before Vyasa. It is quite possible that Vyasa evolved a system of learning and teaching them in 4 divisions in a systematic way through his disciples. Thus he would have helped spreading the 4 divisions. The 4 characteristics described above are not mutually exclusive. Though there are only Riks in Rig Veda, Riks are not confined to it. They are in Yajur Veda along with prose. The main style of Samaveda are Riks that can be sung. Besides looking at the divisions according to their style, we can look at them according to their content. The mantras in Rig Veda are mainly in the form of stotras or hymns. The general content of Yajurveda relate to yajna or Vedic rituals. Samaveda contains the mantras in the form of hymns that can be sung. The main content of Atharva Veda is the mantras to avoid misfortune, the descriptions of yajnas, and the hymns in praise of deities while doing holy rituals. There are different texts of Vedas, usually called branches or shakha. These would have evolved during oral transmission from disciple to disciple. Such transmissions would have given rise to minor changes in the order of the words and of the teaching, though the idea would have remained intact. English scholars called them recensions. Muktigopanishad, one of the 108 important Upanishads, mentions there were as many as 1,180 recensions, 21 for Rigveda, 109 for Yajurveda, and 1,000 for Samaveda, and 50 for Atharva Veda. However, in his Mahabhashya, Maharshi Patanjali has recorded that there were 101 recensions for Yajurveda and 9 for Atharva Veda. 101 is the number of recensions of Yajurveda in the Shatapatha Brahmana also. Minor differences in these numbers can be seen in the Puranas and other places. Whatever the exact number, everyone agrees that there were more than 1,000 recensions. We can see how enormous an oral tradition Veda was. We will need several bookshelves even to store one recension with all its parts. Just imagine 1,000 such recensions. However, we can now only visualize that in our minds because many recensions have been lost as they were not preserved at the appropriate time in an appropriate manner. Now we have only 7 or 8 recensions with all the 4 parts, namely Samhita, Brahmanam, Aranyakam and Upanishads in full. But the truth that is revealed to humanity through the Vedas in their Upanishads continues to remain today without any loss or mutilation. Now we will have a bird's eye view of the 4 Vedas.